Chris. Fooled ya. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you knew it was me all along. But it is Abby, the intern at Calvary Bible Church, and I am leading tonight's Mayhem. That's right. It's me, Abby, the leader. Okay. Anyway, guys, I'm so glad y'all are here. You guys picked the perfect time to be here to join us. We are excited. I'm excited to be leading this time and to share with you guys some fun things and some really heartful things too. Chris will be doing the teaching tonight, so sit back and enjoy this time. And remember, guys, you don't have to believe like us to belong with us. We want this to be a place where everyone experiences community. And I know that's really hard during a time where we're in quarantine, we're in isolation, but we're still here. All of your leaders are here, so if you see your leaders on here, give them a shout out, reach out to them, email, text, or whatever way you can connect, and we'll do the same. We really want this to be a time where we're still connected and involved in each other's lives. Love you guys. Enjoy this time at Mayhem. And now it's time for TikToks with some of our 8th grade leaders. We have Josh Kreitz and Ashley Paulson going at another duo. I picked out some of my favorite TikToks that I've seen people do. So enjoy these TikToks. Vote on your favorite, comment on the YouTube channel, Girls Against Boys. Who's gonna be the winner?
Look, I just flipped the switch. I don't know nobody else. Look, I just flipped the switch. I don't know nobody else.
That was the Flip the Switch challenge. And I don't know about y'all, but Ashley Paulson's dog is so cute, and I have no clue how Josh managed to pull off that transformation, but it was great, guys. So next we have I'm Just a Kid challenge.
When you're spending every day on your own, and here it goes. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. When you're spending every day on your own, and here it goes. I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
They grew up so fast, guys, which reminds me, 8th graders, this is your last Mayhem, and we want to acknowledge that. We are so glad you got to be a part of the Mayhem community. We are gonna really miss you guys, but we're so excited for this next step, that you guys get to go to high school and get to learn and experience new things. We will miss you guys. We're gonna be praying for you guys so much. But yeah, I love each and every one of you guys and wanted to give you all a shout out. Hope you guys enjoy this final Mayhem. We'll miss you. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting a bit quarantined out, but I wanted to share with y'all some tips and tricks on different things you can do during quarantine if you're really bored. First is tie-dye. I tie-dyed this sweatshirt and some matching shorts with it. It was really fun to do, super messy, so lay down a sheet, be outside, make sure you're wearing things you don't care if they get messy on, but super fun. Also, watercoloring. These little sets are so cheap at Walmart, and these you can make friendship bracelets. And another hobby I picked up was scrapbooking. Super random, but I've loved doing this. Done some doodling and pictures. But yeah, if you're not a crafty person, this isn't your cup of tea, I want to share with you guys some tips and tricks from my boys, the Kreitz. So let's watch their video. Something that I really miss about in-person Mayhem is our worship. Worship is a huge way to deepen your relationship with Jesus and connect with him, and maybe even for the first time. For me, I've inserted this song, and it is one that I experienced God for the first time, and he really became real to me. So I hope the same can happen for you. During this time, you can sing along, or you can be quiet and still, you can journal, or you can even do a slow no grow, which is our Mayhem devotional. You can get on linktree.com/mayhemerie and find that there. I'll insert that link. But yeah, so you guys can do whatever you like during this time to connect with Jesus. But my prayer and hope for you guys is that he can become real and that you can experience him in this way.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Your fault, still your love fought for me. And you have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Okay, well, here we are at the end of a crazy and unique season and semester. And there's been some things for me that are good. There's been some things for me that are really difficult. And I can't think of a better way to finish off our teaching portion of this semester, thinking through some things that Jesus said about himself. And when we move into this space where we're looking at the sayings of Jesus, sometimes it's hard to trust the things that Jesus says. I mean, in regular life, sometimes it's hard to trust the things that anybody says, like your parents or your siblings or school teachers or anybody. For me, growing up, my dad was a guy who liked to mess with people. He liked to see if he could twist the truth just enough to get you to believe. Sometimes it's like a crazy thing, sometimes it's other, but he loved to be able to mess with people. And there was one day in high school, we were driving to a baseball game. I was going to play a baseball game actually in Boulder, and we're driving down Highway 93 from Denver to Boulder or whatever, Golden to Boulder, and we're driving by Rocky Flats. And, you know, like, I'm like, hey, Dad, what's that? And he's like, it's Rocky Flats, nuclear testing. And he was like, yeah, it's closed now. And I'm like, why did it close? And without skipping a beat, he was like, people started to glow and they had to shut it down. And so we're driving and I'm sitting there. I didn't say a thing, and we're driving in silence. And in my mind, I'm like, well, you know, like, is that possible? I don't think it's true because my dad likes to mess with me. It can't be true. And then I'm like, well, I have seen some TV shows and some movies where people are like glowing because they get in contact with nuclear waste and toxic dumps and those things.
But what's with the glowing?
I'll field that question. A lifetime of working in a nuclear power plant has given me a healthy green glow.
And so I'm like, maybe. And I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm open to the possibility. And I'm like, really? And my dad just loses it. Like, he just starts to laugh uncontrollably while driving down the road. Like, he gets to the point where like tears are streaming down his face because he's laughing so hard and he has to like pull off the road. And I'm like, my dad got me again. Like, I can't believe it. So sometimes it's hard to trust the people in our lives. Sometimes it's easy to trust the people in our lives. And now let's take it one step further. How is it for you and your ability to trust God? Like, trust what he says, trust what he says about this world, trust what he says about himself. Do I actually believe that that is true? And I know that trusting God is not easy. Like, I live in the real world like you do and experience really difficult things and challenging things. And I wonder for you what it is that makes it hard for you to trust Jesus.
God has never failed me. He has never quit on me. He has never abandoned me. He has always been there for me. I can always count on God. I know he is for me. I know he is with me. But if I'm being honest, I don't trust God completely. It's true, God has never failed me, but he has taken a long time to help me. It's true, he has never quit on me, but I have felt helpless. It's true, he has never abandoned me, but I have felt alone. It's true, he has always been there, but I don't always feel like he's here. I know I should trust him completely, but I don't. I love God, I really do, but I struggle to trust. I have trust issues, not because God is wrong, not because God is against me, not because God doesn't love me, but because I don't like being uncomfortable. And when God makes my life uncomfortable, I only give him a fragment or a piece of my trust.
See, this is the challenge that has existed from the beginning. From the beginning, humans are faced with this challenge. Are they going to believe God and his definition of the world and operate in his wisdom and his timing? Or am I going to start defining good and evil for myself and operate in my wisdom and my timing
Well, it begins by introducing us to a beautiful mind, the author of all reality, a being called God. And he has the power to take the dark chaos of the uncreated world and bring about order and beauty and a garden full of life.
And to crown this accomplishment, God appoints these creatures called humanity,
or in Hebrew, Adam.
And they're made as God's image.
Which means that they're commissioned to rule this beautiful world on God's behalf by harnessing all of its potential and creating even more beauty and order.
This is a story about humans using their power to do meaningful, life-giving work. But the question is, how?
Yeah, humanity now faces a choice that's represented by a fruit tree. So humans could partner with God and find freedom by trusting in his knowledge of good and evil.
Or
they could seize power and define good and evil on their own, which, God warns, will kill them.
And they hear the voice of a dark, mysterious creature that tells them the choice is simple. Take the fruit. It'll give you power and freedom to rule the world on your own terms.
One thing that's interesting to think about is the things that make it hard for you and I to trust and follow Jesus is the same things that made it hard for Jesus's friends and his followers to trust and follow him. Like Jesus said some crazy things about life, some crazy things about himself that were really difficult for even his disciples, his friends who followed him around for years to believe and understand and accept. The story that we're going to look at tonight contains one of these moments where Jesus's followers, his friends, had a really hard time understanding what Jesus said and believing what he said was true.
So he rose from the table, took off his outer garment, and tied a towel round his waist. Then he poured some water into a wash basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and dry them with the towel around his waist. After Jesus had washed their feet, he put his outer garment back on and returned to his place at the table.
Do you understand what I have just done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and it is right that you should do so because that is what I am. I, your Lord and teacher, have just washed your feet. You then should wash one another's feet. I have set an example for you, so that you will do just what I have done for you. I am telling you the truth. No slaves are greater than their master, and no messengers are greater than the one who sent them. Now that you know this truth, how happy you will be if you put it into practice. My children, I shall not be with you very much longer. You will look for me, but I tell you now what I told the Jewish authorities. You cannot go where I am going. And now I give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. If you have love for one another, then everyone will know that you are my disciples.
Where are you going, Lord?
You cannot follow me now where I am going. But later you will follow me.
Lord, why can't I follow you now? I am ready to die for you.
Are you really ready to die for me? I am telling you the truth. Before the rooster crows, you will say 3 times that you do not know me. Do not be worried and upset. Believe in God. And believe also in me. There are many rooms in my Father's house. And I am going to prepare a place for you. I would not tell you this if it were not so. And after I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to myself, so that you will be where I am. You know the way that leads to the place where I am going.
Lord,
We do not know where you are going. So how can we know the way to get there?
And Jesus says, I'm going to prepare a place for you, and you are going to be with me. And they're like, how do I get to where you're going? How do I know the way? Jesus, if you're leaving, how do I know how to get where you're going so I can be with you? Because I want to follow you and be with you. And then at this point in the conversation, this is where Jesus says something profound about himself. He says, I am the way and the truth and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. So let's look at the three things that Jesus says about himself. Okay, the first thing that Jesus said is, I am the way. Think about Jesus's friends at the moment that he is telling them this. They are hearing their leader tell them that he is going to go away. And in their minds, they must be thinking, how do I know how to live? Like, how do I know what decisions to make when you're gone? How do I know how to operate in this world in the time that we're not going to be together so that I can be together with you in the future? And Jesus is saying, you have heard me speak, you have heard me teach, you have heard me talk about how this world lives and what to do. And he is saying, if you listen to my words and operate in my wisdom and in my timing, if you follow my way, you will be with me and the Father in the future. The second thing that Jesus said, he says, I am the truth. Jesus is saying, if you want to know the truth about everything and anything, sit with him and be with him, and you will discover the truth. Jesus's followers after this, after the time that Jesus left, became convinced that he was God. And Paul, who wrote most of the New Testament, one of the things that he became convinced about and wrote about multiple times is that Jesus is the creator of the universe. Like, by him, through him, for him, Jesus was the one who created everything. And when Paul thinks about Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, God created. For Paul, in the beginning, Jesus created. So if Jesus truly is the creator of the universe and the creator of you and me, he knows the truth about how everything was created, how everything is put together, how everything is made, how life actually works. And so Jesus is saying, I was there at the beginning. I am the truth. Sit with me, follow me, listen to me, and you will know the truth about everything. And the third thing that Jesus said is, I am the life. Jesus is trying to communicate the way to experience life with him is the same way that God set it up from the beginning to experience life with him. The way to experience life with him is to trust what he says and to follow and do life the way that he designed it and tells us how to live. If we trust him and follow him and live like he tells us to live, we will experience the fullness of life that he designed for us to live. And when we put our trust in Jesus, we are able to experience life with Jesus again. And then we start to operate in his wisdom and his timing, and we start to forgive others, and we start to serve others, and we start to do things on behalf of others, not myself. And we start to experience the more fullness of life that we were designed to live. And that's what he's saying. He's like, I am the life. We're going to hop into our small groups, and I hope you guys have amazing conversations wrestling with the words of Jesus and who he said that he is.
Alright guys, that's all for the online portion of Mayhem, and now it's to go to small group to discuss and answer questions on the teaching and just simply be in community. I'm so glad you guys could join us, and if you aren't in a small group and want to be a part of this in the future or right now, visit linktree/Mayhem Erie and we'll get you connected. See you guys later.